Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Have a seat, Sumit.
Thank you, sir.
So, Sumit, as I can see that you are from Jamshedpur,
Yes.
Jharkhand. Your optional is public administration.
Yes.
And you have done BTech in computer science and engineering from Jharkhand. And your interests include social entrepreneurship, practicing positive motivation, alternative medicine enthusiast, and hobbies are acting, dramatics, and creative writing, story, and essay. It's a lot many, yeah. All right. So, Sumit, when we talk about public administration, can you tell me how is a public policy developed? A public policy. What are the stages of public policy?
Sir, public policy, like the first stage will be like first we go for the requirement study, that is the feasibility study, and then we take the inputs from the first we decide that what has to be done, what is the broad perspective of the government. Then on the basis of that, the second stage is that we take input from the ground level workers or the ground level functionaries as well as the bureaucracy and people and other stakeholders. Third is that we plan that how to execute this policy, taking into consideration the various stakeholders. After that, we go for the execution of the policy. And post execution, we have the policy implementation, the monitoring part, and the feedback part.
Okay. Can you tell me what is meant by the official actors and unofficial actors? Can you give some examples? Who are the official actors?
Sir, the official actors are, for example, the judiciary, the legislature, then the executives in the field, that is the line agency and the staff agencies, and the non-official will be the civil society, sir. For example, the NGOs, the voluntary organizations, etc., media.
Can you give me some examples of public policies which were implemented, in fact formulated and implemented, which came into existence as a result of the unofficial actors? Some example, 1 or 2, 3 examples which are in vogue now, which did not come from any other place, but it came from the pressures exerted by the pressure groups, by unofficial actors.
Sir, the legislation with respect to environment, that is the environmental impact assessment notification, sir. So in that, the role of the non-state actors was important, sir, the pressure groups.
Where this notification you saw?
Sir, on the website of government, the PIB, sir, draft EIA notification, which was there, sir.
The part of the Land Acquisition Rehabilitation Act? Social impact?
Yes, sir.
Or there is a separate policy?
Sir, EIA guidelines are a part of LARR policy, sir.
Okay.
Can you tell me the very, very prominent, very common policies which are become such important nowadays? One is a part of the good governance also. What is that thing? Can you tell me? One particular public policy came as a result of private NGOs, groups, and that is one of the ingredients of good governance also. I'm sure you know about that. Tell me.
Sir,
that attribute, yeah, okay.
Charter and RTI Act.
Okay, Citizen Charter and RTI Act.
Yes, sir.
Then what are the others one?
Sir, we also have science, technology and innovation policy. Apart from it, we have national education policy also, sir.
Okay, all right. Now, in the context of Russia-Ukraine war, it is said that now we have guided missiles and unguided men. We do not know what will happen because we have guided missiles and unguided men. What is your opinion about it? Technology has progressed. We have guided missiles, but unguided men. Supposing there are a group of unguided men, you may be belonging to a Maoist area or a Naxalist area. They are unguided people. How will you bring them around in the main fold?
Sir, this implies that the importance of ethics in war, sir. So, for example, sir, if we have the guided missile, but we have unguided men, then there is a high probability that it can lead to a catastrophe, which will disrupt the overall peace and the destruction of life and property, which we are currently seeing in case of the Ukraine and Russia crisis, sir. So, in order to, as you asked, in order to bring the Maoism or motivate people to come into mainstream and leave that field, I think, sir, we need to go for emotional rehabilitation as well as government intervention in terms of development as well as strengthening our law and order.
Is the government doing anything regarding that in respect of these things? Can you tell me some of the steps taken by the government?
The government is doing, sir, like there are multi-pronged strategy. For example, one is that with respect to the current government's mantra, that is Samadhan, where we are focusing on leadership, we are focusing on developing the dashboards and knowledge performance indicators. Also, we are developing the infrastructure. For example, sir, in terms of BharatNet, we are ensuring connectivity in the remote areas. Apart from that, government is also training the state forces in order to tackle terrorism better. Then the surveillance operations, the intelligence operations also is being revamped, sir.
My last question to you is that there was a time when Nokia, one of the biggest companies in this world, it was the head of the wireless communication. And it remains the world leader for 10 years or so, more than that. And suddenly then what happened? It lost ground and Samsung took over and Apple took over. Why did it happen?
Sir, Nokia was not able to match up with the design part, sir. Like the adaptability with respect to technology, Nokia was somewhere lacking, sir.
It came out with the best designs of mobile phones. The best designs which were there, the Nokia was able to offer. What were the two reasons why Nokia was left behind and Apple and Samsung took over?
Sir, I'm not aware of the exact reasons, sir.
Okay, you can go through that. And this was primarily the technological change which had taken place at that time. And Nokia did not follow that. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
So due to their reluctance to adapt to changes. Anyway, now you have written in your depth that you are self-employed. What kind of self-employment?
Sir, I am the CEO and co-founder of a startup. So, but we are not drawing any salary yet.
Okay.
So, in that sense.
So, can you tell us briefly what the startup is about?
Sir, we are into the venture of social entrepreneurship.
Social
entrepreneurship, sir.
Entrepreneurship. Okay.
So, sir, the journey actually began because of we won the Smart India Hackathon, and then we had to deliver our app to Government of India, Ministry of Steel, and therefore Ministry wanted us to establish ourselves as an entity so that they can procure our product, and hence we developed and we registered ourselves as a startup, sir.
So you are working in Delhi on this or Bangalore or where?
Sir, we are currently we are working part-time, sir. We have a team of few members and the roles are clearly defined.
Okay. Now, in India, is abortion legal or illegal?
Sir, I'm
not sure.
Sir, I'm not able to recall exactly the provisions.
Okay. Do you know that in America there is an agitation going on the issue of abortion being permitted or not permitted?
Sir, recently I have not read this news.
Okay, if you are not aware, no, don't worry. There is this MP LED and MLA LED fund. uh, States have MLA led funds and central government gives MP LED fund. Every year some amount is given to the MPs or MLAs to spend in their constituencies. What is the necessity of this fund? I consider it as a wasteful expenditure from public exchequer. What are your views about it?
Sir, MP-led and MLA-led fund uh, gives some executive role to the legislature. This is in the view that since the MP or MLA is the closest representative of their particular territory, so therefore they are the best ones to identify the problems which can be addressed at their level. So they are given this fund so that they can tackle the needs of their constituency, sir.
But if the problems cannot be tackled, even with so many schemes going on, then how will they be tackled with this small amount?
Sir, I think this
You name it and the scheme is there.
sir, this scheme works as a tool to identify the problems which are unaddressed by the different schemes.
Like example,
Sir, like if some infrastructure work has to be done at the local level, so their MP-led scheme can be utilized to district administration.
it has often been seen that the MPs and MLAs do not spend this money for most of the period of their tenure, and they generally spend this or sanction projects out of it towards the election time to win over votes. Now what do you think?
Sir, I agree with this fact, but sir, this is also a point that this leads to some asset creation, sir. For example, if a bus stand is developed with the help of MP-led fund, or if some community borewell is developed with respect to MP-led funds. So this, I won't say that this is a very streamlined solution, but it do help in in addressing the challenges of the local communities.
Okay.
You are from Jharkhand, right?
Yes.
So Jharkhand was an outcome of a very long drawn process. Okay, since 1940s and 50s, there were demands it should be a separate state. So from 2000 to 2022, almost 22 years has passed. Okay. So what have you observed? Why it has not been able to achieve that developmental benchmark? What are the problems Jharkhand is facing?
Sir, as a state, we are currently progressing and we are striving our best to fulfill the aspirations of the people for which the Jharkhand was crafted. There are few challenges, sir, which is there at the root of the state formation and the issues which is there. Sir, the first problem is that we had a long span of political instability, because of which it impacted the investments and industries. Secondly, sir, there are problems with respect to unemployment, and third is the tribal unrests because of the domicile issue, or we see the events like Pathalgadi and the agitation for including Sarna in the census was also raised. So these were the another issues, sir. Apart from it, Naxalism has also impacted our growth process.
Okay. So in spite of having resources, Jharkhand has not been able to come out in a proper way. You belong to a place called Saraikela. What is this famous for?
Sir, Chow dance,
Chow
Saraikela Chow.
And other than Saraikela, is it been performed in some other areas as well?
Sir, Saraikela is contributing towards asbestos mineral.
I am talking about Chow dance.
Chow dance.
Okay. So your optional is public administration.
Yes.
What are the features of the new public administration, the goals of the new public administration, why it evolved?
Sir, the public administration before the arrival of NPA, it was value neutral completely, and it was not reflecting the social change or the things which the society was expecting from public administration. For example, compassion, or for example, being value laden. So in order to make the field more relevant, more responsive, the emergence of NPA took, and Dwight Waldo had presided over this Mino Group conference.
So where is it reflected in the Indian administration? Can you see the new public administration? Can you give any examples?
Sir, it is reflected in terms of when we talk about last mile connectivity, last mile delivery of schemes. When we talk about the administration, which has to be compassionate, giving more focus on the vulnerable sections, implementing the schemes of welfare sectors.
That was also being done earlier as well.
Right, sir.
Then what is the change? How the goals changed?
So the goals changed. For example, earlier we had the entitlement process, but now we are focusing on enablement. Also, now we have the rights-based approach, sir. So, for example, the right to education is there, or NG is there.
Okay. So, as you have been a student of public administration, why there is a need for lateral entry in the civil service system?
Sir, the lateral entry scheme has been implemented to infuse new energy and new mindset in the field of public administration, so that we have the vivid perspective and the different experiences in administration, and the values of both the private administration and public administration must work in sync to achieve the goals of government.
So, who are these lateral entrants?
Sir, they will be hired at the rank of secretary level, sir, in Government of India.
But are they specialists or they might be generalists?
So they will be specialists.
Can you give any examples of successful implementation of public policy programs or schemes by any specialist? 3 examples.
Sir, the first example is with respect to the Aadhaar. The Aadhaar rollout has been successful, and behind this, we had the eminent role of the specialists. Sir, the second one will be like the implementation of the metro project, sir. So even in the metro project, the role of a specialist has been much regarded. That is the Sridharan, Mr. Sridharan. So third one I am unable to recall.
Okay, thank you.
Sumit, you were mentioning about ethics in war. What is, from where actually you got this example of ethics in war?
So ethics in war, by ethics in war, I mean the concept of just war, sir.
For example,
Sir,
give example of one war which was just.
Sir, the Mahabharata, sir.
Mahabharata
From
was
India.
just what?
I believe
There were
it was
so many incidents actually where they violated all the principles of the ethics.
Sir, but the Bhagavad Gita.
Killing Abhimanyu was, ethical or unethical?
Sir, killing is unethical, but if the cause or if the purpose for which it is done, if that is much beyond the
End,
means,
you mean end.
Right, sir.
End justifies the means.
Not in all cases, sir, but in
But
most
in some
of the
cases.
Yes, sir.
And what about the encounters?
So encounter killings are actually violating the due process of law, and it's like going for instant justice, which I don't think is a good practice in democracy.
But they are you see, criminals, non-criminals. And UP has done it. Many other states have done it.
Sir, I believe right to life.
And end is achieved.
Sir, I believe right to life and human dignity, along with right to be heard, should be given to every citizen or every human being, sir. So in that sense, I don't think that encounter killings will be justified except under extraordinary circumstances.
But you would like to have actually that ethics should be maintained in a war.
Right, sir.
So where it has violated actually?
Sir, it is violated, for example, if there is a war crime, sir, or if there is the harm to civilian properties or civilian lives.
But suppose the armed forces take shelter in the civilian houses, then would you not actually target them?
Sir,
Because every armed force they take shelter in the civilian areas, then what the other country will do?
Sir, I believe armed forces have a very
Okay, you
genuine purpose.
just think about that. Now, tell us actually during the COVID, the issue of orphans was highlighted by media and by everyone. And otherwise also this is an important issue. What is the process of adoption of these children?
Sir, we have a Central Adoption Resource Authority, which is
Authority, or is it authority? No?
sir, agency. Central Adoption Resource. Sir, I'm not sure whether it's
Any
agency or
difference?
authority.
What is the difference between an authority and agency?
Sir, authority, sir, I'm not very sure, but if you allow me, I will take it.
Yes.
Yes. So, authority might be having the sanction from the government, and agency can be used in any terms which is providing certain service or certain.
Okay, we leave it now. Proceed further now. So how actually, adopts?
So there are procedure from both the people who want to adopt. They will make an application.
It works under some legal mechanism or it works independently?
So
The CARA.
it works under the legal mechanism, sir.
What is that legal mechanism?
Sir, legal mechanism I am unable to recall right now, sir.
What is the criticism of CARA related to adoption?
Sir, I am unable to recall it, sir. Right now.
Is it very smooth, or there are delays, or there are cumbersome process of adoption?
Yes, sir. The problem is with regard to cumbersome process and delays in the
Repeating
process.
my things, there are other things also. So say those things, not what I have mentioned.
Sir, and also
Recently there are changes. You are aware?
Sir, I am not aware of the recent
Not
changes.
aware of the changes. Okay, thank you.
Sumit, what is the meaning of Jharkhand?
Jharkhand has been there, the bifurcation is Jhar plus Khand, that is the land of forests.
Yeah, but it is not called bifurcation. Okay. Who's the CM of Jharkhand?
And currently Hemant Soren is the CM of Jharkhand.
And governor?
Ramesh Bais is the governor. Ma'am.
Yeah. And when was Jharkhand created?
15th November 2000.
2000.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You have been participating in elocution. On the Youth Day, you have been a winner in elocution. What was the subject or the topic?
The topic was on Swami Vivekananda. His speech. Some of his speech we had to perform.
Perform.
I mean, ma'am, we have to speak along with accent and expressions.
So which one did you choose?
I don't remember the title because it was in 2011. But we had talked about, I had chosen with respect to his speech in Parliament of Religion in Chicago.
Chicago.
Yes.
Okay. The relevance of zero.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So do you recollect anything about the speech?
Yes, ma'am. Few points I recollect.
Let's hear.
And the first thing is that Swami Vivekananda emphasized that if there is any religion which tries to build its edifice on the altar of some other religion, then there will be destruction. So he basically talked about religious harmony. Then he also told that we need to have the assimilation of spiritualism of the East and materialism of the West.
Okay. Okay. Now, what is the difference between elocution and debate?
Ma'am, in debate, we need to have participants, and one set of participants will be speaking for the motion, other set of participants will be speaking against the motion. And in elocution, it's basically one-sided speech where we have to focus on accent, we have to focus on paucity, we have to focus on expressions.
Elocution is the same subject. Everybody speaks on the same subject.
Ma'am, they can choose the subject of their choice.
Elocution. You can speak on any subject.
So we
And
have,
how will you come to a conclusion? Who was good, who was not so good?
ma'am, we had to choose our own subject. The competition in which I was the part, we had to choose our own subject.
And in debate, it's the same subject, it is different subjects.
Same subject, ma'am.
Same subject, different viewpoints.
Viewpoints.
Okay. You talked of social entrepreneurship. You said you were self-employed.
Yes.
And for the last 7 years or so, 5 years, you haven't drawn a salary. Yeah?
3 years, ma'am.
Okay, 3 years. So how many initial partners are there?
4 partners are there.
4 partners are there. And they're all tech people.
Yes, ma'am.
What is the probability of a startup succeeding in the first 5 years?
Ma'am, I cannot, I do not have the
It is a
actual
very
figure.
simple mathematical formula which tells you how many will succeed based on the past track record.
I'm not aware of that formula actually.
Okay, 1 in 3. And since you
Thank
have
you, ma'am.
survived for 5 years, that's a great compliment to you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Creative writing. What do you write?
Ma'am, I write story, I write essay and sometimes quotes.
So what is creative about it?
I'm creative about it is the like I try to think on various horizons and I try to apply my own conception and the people's perception with respect to whatever I write.
So what is your latest?
Ma'am, latest I wrote a story with the title as No Strings Attached.
Say it again.
No Strings Attached.
Okay, and what is it about?
It's regarding women empowerment and it's regarding reflecting the role of mother, the important role which a mother plays in shaping the destiny of 3 generations.
Okay. So what is the final conclusion?
And the final conclusion which I came to was that the hand that holds the cradle actually rules the world, and if like the sacrifice which the mother goes through cannot be compensated with any economic value.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so Sumit, we will take you back to the waiting room. You stay there for a few minutes. We'll call you back for your feedback. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Come. Have a seat, Sumit.
Thank you, sir.
When is your interview fixed, Sumit?
So the 17th May.
Okay, 17th May. And this is the first time you will be making up to the level of interview.
So this is the second time.
So how many marks did you get last time?
160.
160. Okay, not bad. 160 was okay. So this time you will aim to obtain greater marks. How have you done your written paper?
It was better as compared to 2019.
Okay. Is it the first mock that you are attending, or there are been previous mocks and future mocks also?
No, sir, this is the first panel mock.
First panel mock.
Yes, sir.
And how many mocks you have to attend after that?
So I'm thinking to give 3 more.
3 more. Okay. All right. So Sumit, first of all, let me say that since public administration is your topic, so many questions will come.
Yes.
So the entire thing about public policy and how the election manifesto gets converted into a public policy,
Right.
you should understand the entire process of public policy making. Okay, you use the words. I would strongly suggest that you should use words which are technical words. Now, you did try to convey the entire methodology, but the actual words, please understand, is problem identification, agenda setting, policy formulation, policy legitimization, policy implementation, then monitoring and policy evaluation. So this is the technical words used. You use some other words, you see, which may be fine as far as explaining the point is concerned, but since you are a student of public administration, having taken optional, so you are expected to give that. And then of course the question was asked, for example, the lateral entry of this what advantages the government stands to gain, and what advantages that person stands to gain, and what advantage that parent organization stands to gain. We should understand that. Okay, that is the question was relating to that. Then the BTech, you have done computer science and engineering, so a lot many questions will come. I don't have to tell you, you will prepare on that also. General knowledge and current affairs is that area where you need to brush up your knowledge. Otherwise, you are otherwise presentable. Your speaking skills, communication skills are fine. Your mental alertness was also fine. Your delivery is good. Your modulation is fine. Your ability to think and come out with the question was also good. And nowhere did we find that you were hesitant. You did come out with the answer, though one or two places, as I said, you could have come out with a much better answer, or you could have avoided it rather than, and sometimes there was an impression that they were too lengthy answer. So if you are giving a lengthy answer in order to in your enthusiasm and zeal, sometimes then you lose a lot of time, because 20-25 minutes is the maximum time you will get. So try to be small. And how will you be able to do that? By thinking about the answer, then prioritizing the answer, and then come up with the answer and explaining that with example. That's about it. Then the questions which were asked, particularly about abortion, for example, it is a current affair. Only a few days back, this news appeared regarding United States. So try to read newspaper, Hindu, Indian Express, particularly I would like to say, if one more than one, it is possible. 17th May, you have got just today's 5th, so 12 days. You can read 12 days newspaper in these, and you will be well equipped with the latest affair. One more thing which I will tell you is that you should equip yourself with the international affairs, what is happening internationally, and understand what is the policy, foreign policy of India regarding its neighbors, and particularly the situation in Sri Lanka and Pakistan, Myanmar, Bangladesh. Why Bangladesh is progressing higher? Why happiness index Pakistan and Bangladesh are over us? So these are some of the things. Please read all the indicators which are there, and indices which are there. So where India stands with corruption, in human development index, and so on. What is the situation of India in SDGs? Okay, and also the role of United Nations and its organizations. And then of course the advantages which Russia Ukraine has given to India. What is how India's position has improved after Russia Ukraine war? India's position world over has definitely improved. So you should understand the nuances of the foreign policy. Are you following what I'm saying?
Yes.
Then of course Jharkhand, you have to know very well about your own state. So try to understand the basic concept. Number one, after it was the Jharkhand was came as a new state, what were the advantages which it has gained, and also understand the problem which still remain. So the problem of Jharkhand, and also some of the important figures, facts and figures. So the facts figures will be agriculture, particularly the power position, the irrigation, law and order, criminalization, mines, minerals, then the culture, the women's status, and many other social evils which may be associated. So try to divide them into 4 parts: the strengths, the opportunities, the weaknesses, and the threats. So read about this, and also study a great deal about your Jamshedpur. Jamshedpur, why it is famous. For all right reasons, Jamshedpur is very much famous. Tata Nagar and all those things. Then coming to the role of the collector, you should read very well, and the Panchayati Raj institutions. So that is not essential, but you try to read as much current affairs and general knowledge, because they will figure a large, And then of course many questions were asked regarding MP lad, MLA lad, the funds, the Kara, and the adoption of children, and similar other questions regarding issues connected with new public administration and so on. So read about all those things. Also, I would suggest that you read the public policies which are there, because public administration. So regarding women, regarding children, regarding senior citizens and scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, and also read constitution so that you understand, because public administration is very closely related to constitution as well. So read the constitution article by article. Do you have any questions to ask?
Sir, actually, I felt that many factual questions, like sir, I knew at the back of my mind, but I was unable to recall.
Which
it, sir.
question
So,
are you referring
sir,
to?
like sir had asked me some question, I was not able to answer, but I had read about it, sir.
I asked you only two questions. One on abortion and one was on MPLAD and MLA.
Sir, regarding abortion, actually, I was confused with that, sir. The weeks it has expanded from 20 weeks to 26 weeks. That has been done, sir, in terms of the abortion.
But it is legal.
Legal, yes, sir.
Yes.
Actually,
You could have answered to very.
There is a certain methodology there.
Yes,
If the period has gone beyond a certain limit, then High Court's permission is taken. That's about it. But otherwise, it is legal.
yes, sir.
Okay. So read about that. You read about euthanasia, the mercy killing,
Yes.
all issues connected with general knowledge and current affairs regarding that. Any other question which you feel that you were confused or you were not able to answer, you can ask us.
Sir, could you let me know the legal mechanism for adoption, sir? CARA, like I only knew the institutional one, that is CARA, but legal, sir, I am unable to recall, like, sir.
See, the most important law related to children is the juvenile justice.
Yes, sir.
Everything is there in that act. And all the welfare scheme and protection schemes are under that law.
Okay, sir.
And it was recently amended also, where it is made actually much easier, the adoption. Certain powers which was with the judicial officers
Yes, sir.
are given to the
DM.
executive magistrate.
To the DM it has
I
been.
read it, sir.
Yeah.
Juvenile Justice Act.
So that has become much more simpler now. In fact, it was difficult earlier. Now it is very simple now. And many other provisions have been added. For example, earlier the passport could not be given if a child is adopted under CARA. Now the child can also be he can also travel abroad also. So many new provisions have
I
come
read
about.
about it, sir. Actually,
Yeah,
I
so
read.
you read about that also. In fact, every social welfare scheme which has been launched, and that is why I said, since yours is a public administration, try to cull out all public policy. One particular book I would strongly recommend is 70 Policies That Shaped India. Read that thing. It's a very nice PDF, free for download is available. 70 Policies That Shaped India. And read in all sectors. So in housing sector, then in pollution, women, children, every sector the government has come out with a lot number, Namami Gange and so on. So read about them. Many questions will be asked on public administration and computer science and engineering, about Jharkhand and about the current affairs and general knowledge about it. Okay, but you are good. There is nothing wrong in your delivery is good, communication skills is good, knowledge is also good. In most of the cases, you just have to study slightly more, and you have time on your side. So you don't have to worry about your skill or attitude. They are good. Your knowledge, slightly more improvement will do you extremely good. I'm sure with the kind of performance you have given today, and with some more inputs to be added to that, you will be able to get very good marks, much better than what you obtained last year.
Thank you very much,
Okay.
sir. I do,
All
sir.
the best to you. You will do very well.
Thank you.
All the best.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Unacademy. Let's crack it.